want to thank all of you for being here. You know, it's very humbling. It's very humbling to have all of this support. You know, when you start off on doing something like this, you never know who's going to be with you and who's not going to be with you. But having all of you with me has been incredibly warming, and has certainly energized me to want to do this job even more. So I appreciate each and every one of you for being here tonight. It's been a long road, and I appreciate all of you for being with us while we've gone through this. And there's, you know, it's been an uphill road, but we're near the finish line, and we can smell victory. So, and it's because all of you have been here with us. So I appreciate each and every one of you for being here tonight, and I look forward to serving as your city councilor for the next year. So please write a check. I know I've asked you all already, but please do it again because these things are so expensive. But tonight we're so lucky to have somebody else with us, a good friend of mine, and he is an incredible person. And from the first time he came to Birmingham, he has enamored us all. We've all fallen under the Jim Roth spell. Oh my God. So he is an incredible person. He's an incredible elected official. And I am very happy to call him friend. So I would like to ask Jim to come forward and speak. Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, thank you. Don't go anywhere. All right. Stay up here. Okay. All right. Thank you guys very much for the chance to join you tonight in Birmingham. I'm a huge fan of Howard, and you know, sometimes on the stock shows they talk about buying or selling. I'm buying with Howard, and I'm buying with Birmingham. When I first came here about 4 years ago, I had never had a real personal impression of Alabama other than what you typically hear outside the state boundaries. And I'm sure you've heard something similar about Oklahoma. and we were joking earlier about, you know, we have Arkansas, you have Mississippi, but beyond that, you're about 48 states make fun of you. So I felt like we had similar journeys, but I was so endeared to meet the people. And I think your city, like our city, your state, like our state, experiences something similar. And that is, a lot of people have a legacy opinion about equality issues and aren't where we all want them to be. And they got a foot in the past. And candidates like this, public servants like Howard, are our greatest chance to not just lean into the future, but actually create the future. And I know this is a difficult time, and I'm so thrilled that Elisa's here as well, and I know she's going to be victorious on Tuesday without a runoff. She and her partner will be on the boat before Labor Day. and all will be forgiven, right? There'll be bliss in the household, and I know it'll work. But I do want to say just a word of thanks about Birmingham and Howard in particular. I've known Howard for a number of years. I'm real involved in the National Gay Lesbian Victory Fund, an organization that I absolutely believe in because they invest in places where people like me and maybe people like Howard don't have a chance other than incredible generosity that comes from you locally and hopefully a band of brothers of sorts around the country. And when I've met Howard in that regard in the national organizations, I thought this man has true convictions. He's in it for the right reasons. And I don't mean convictions like Mayor Langford on the horizon. Right. I mean genuine. Right. I should have said from the beginning, you have full privilege to use the video and edit as you feel necessary. Right? But in all seriousness, I mean convictions from the heart. Because when you're in public office, it's easy to admire the status quo and to go along. What is difficult is stepping out of your comfort space and trying to achieve real progress for people that traditionally don't have a voice. And that is not easy. And the journey that you're on today with this candidate is probably one of the most difficult. Because you have an incumbent that you may like as a person, you have a city that you wish would move further along, but you think maybe she's part of the good if you have to ever break them out between good and not so good. But you can't settle for mediocrity. You can't settle for, gosh, I tried. If you're like us in Oklahoma, you have got to get out there, and it's not enough to have a friend. You got to have someone that lives and breathes equality issues every day, that won't ever compromise because they wake up knowing that they've started behind that day. My experience in Oklahoma, I think, is a bit like Howard's here in Alabama. About 13 years ago, when my partner was dying, I had no legal right to be in the hospital corridor to help make those decisions because discrimination is so enshrined in our laws. And Alabama is no different than that. I ran for county commissioner. I'd been a county attorney for a number of years because I wanted to change the environment. My primary opponent was my previous boss, the county commissioner, had the nomination for 16 years as a progressive Democrat. She had recently lost, and so the seat was open, other than held by a Republican. She decided to run after I'd already announced, so there we were as friends going through a very difficult, and that divided our community, it divided our base of friends. But at the end of the day, she hadn't moved the needle on behalf of all of us. And so we were successful in actually saying, give us a chance. Let us serve, let us roll up our sleeves, let us try to make the difference. Because at the end of the day, I wasn't going to change who I was. That hospital experience was something that I will never forget. And she could maybe have compromised. That may or may not be similar facts to what you're dealing with here, but I'm saying to you, it's not enough to be in the room anymore. You got to have the vote. You got to have that person who looks you in the eye at the end of that work week, goes home to a life that's similar to yours, and is committed to live that experience 7 days a week, and we have that in Howard. And from across this country, I've met wonderful people that mean well, that work hard. I mean, the people that step into PFLAG, like Patty and her husband are doing, I mean, these are incredible people in a place where it's not easy to stand up for those people that typically have to move away to be themselves. But you've got someone who's willing to roll up his sleeves, to take a chance, to try to do better than it's been done before. So I'm saying vote for Howard, vote for change, write a check. As Jay suggested, he's not taking anything off the top. It all goes to Howard. I trust Michael is not taking anything off the top either. But in all seriousness,
the ball, not the drawer.
This democracy requires all of us. It requires that you talk to a neighbor. It requires that you talk to a coworker. It requires that you maybe push back if you get a stupid email from a family member, as I often do. And it requires that you support someone like Howard and Elisa that's going to show up, that's going to go to bat for you and your family, however you define them, and make sure that dignity is a part of this democracy. That's what it's about. It's not comfortable. You could be at home watching True Blood in about 10 minutes, right? But you're here because in 47 hours the polls close across this city. And I hope that you will have two people that are going to represent you 24/7. Three? At least three that will represent you 24/7. Of course. And I think the world of her. I think she does a great job. But at the end of the day, it's up to you and the relationship you're going to have with your school board member and your city council person. And I know that these two people, and I just met Lisa tonight, but I certainly know this from Howard, they're going to return the call. And they're going to do it because their oath requires it, and because they absolutely respect the honor that you will provide them on Tuesday night. So please reach out beyond yourselves. And if it's not a check, make 5 phone calls tomorrow. Send an email to your list and say, hey, do you know my 2 friends? Do something that you would not have otherwise have done. Because Tuesday night when these polls close, don't you want to be with the winners that are actually moving Birmingham forward? When I went to your Civil Rights Museum about 3 or 4 years ago, I was so amazed to learn that Birmingham had more population than the city of Atlanta about 80 years ago. Now, that's what happens when you choose inclusion or not. Look at Atlanta, the capital of the South, an economy that's probably expanding beyond most regions in this country. And Birmingham has struggled. Oklahoma has struggled because we've not banded it together and moved our state forward. So I'm just asking you, start tonight, give again. I know you all have given already. John Smallwood, I think, is a genius. I love him. He does amazing work, was our field director last year, worked really hard. I never knew you could go to Home Depot and make signs like he made. Stick it out of the back of his truck, you know. We put an Oklahoma tag over his Alabama tag even. But in all seriousness, we're all in this together. So I'm so proud to be here. My friend Brent is here, who was our campaign manager last year, because we feel like we're on similar paths with you all. And they were teasing me, you might wear flip-flops and I might wear boots, but at the end of the day, our head hopes for the same thing when it hits a pillow. And that's for a family that's going to receive love and respect across our communities. And so I just want to say thanks for the chance to be here. Write a check, vote, call a friend, send an email, and at the end of the day, celebrate this democracy because you got to claim it. And we love you, Howard.
Thank you, Jim.
Good luck to you too.